Hello everyone, and welcome back to Turkish series stars. I hope you're doing well and taking care of yourselves, because today's update has the entire entertainment scene buzzing. We're talking about Gökberk Yildirim and Cemre Arda, two names we've followed closely for years, and as the headline promised, the development that surfaced has left both fans and industry insiders stunned. If you admire their work or simply like to keep up with the latest in showbiz, you'll want to stay with me until the end. Before we dive in, if you haven't subscribed yet, hit that red button and turn on the bell so you're always the first to know when a new story drops here on Turkish series stars. Now, take a breath and settle in, because what I'm about to tell you is the story everyone is discussing right now. What exactly happened with Gökberk and Cemre? The news that broke on November 12, 2025, turned a normal day into a whirlwind. We're speaking about two beloved stars with carefully built careers and public images that, until very recently, seemed stable and aligned. But behind that polished veneer, something shifted. According to multiple sources, some discreet and some more talkative than others, a heavy decision was made, one that changes their trajectory both personally and professionally. To be precise, it's a breakup. Not a neatly scheduled, softly announced we're different people now kind of split, but an abrupt ending that appears to have caught even those in their close orbit off guard. Let's set the scene. For anyone late to the party, Gökberk Yildirim and Cemre Arda have been two leading lights of their generation. Their paths have intersected in festivals, premieres, and award galas, even when they weren't appearing side by side on camera. Gökberk, with that easy charm and a range that moved him fluidly between roles, has proven himself not only on set but also in the studio, where his voice and musical experiments found their audience. Cemre, for her part, is known for a voice that seems to live both in intimate ballads and in anthems that soar, and for a presence on stage that makes even the simplest gesture feel momentous. Together, they carried an aura of professional alignment and personal understanding. At least, that's what most of us believed, and what they allowed the public to see. What makes this story so startling is the way it unfolded. There were no long clues, no public arguments, no obvious signs that would prepare fans for a split. The announcement dropped like a flash in a clear sky. First it was a murmur, "Have you heard?" Then came the confirmation, delivered in short, restrained words that left more questions than answers. If you take their statements at face value, you get a tone of respect and the promise of privacy. If you read between the lines, you sense urgency, the kind that arrives after many quiet, private conversations finally run out of room. The rumor mill has spun quickly, and yet the only thing that's truly solid is the date. November 12, 2025. That's when everything changed for their followers. Theories began to proliferate at the speed of the internet. Some say schedules pulled them in different directions, others suggest that new projects created tension where there used to be synergy. In the world where every hour of your day is managed and negotiated, even small differences can set off larger storms. And when you're two magnetic talents with overlapping fields, the professional and personal threads can tangle in ways outsiders rarely understand. There is talk, again, we're emphasizing that much of this is speculation. That the split was not entirely amiable. No dramatic accusations have been made, nothing official beyond the brief public words, but the whispers speak of disagreements, maybe creative, maybe about the future, perhaps about timing. Fans, being human, want a culprit, or at least a clean explanation. Social media filled with people choosing sides, while others asked everyone to take a beat, breathe, and show empathy. It's hard to stay detached when you've watched two artists craft not only bodies of work but also a shared story, one that audiences felt invested in. The absence of detailed statements from both Gökberk and Cemre has only heightened the sense of mystery. Each posted a few lines, dignified and careful. No direct finger-pointing, no elaborate backstory, no laundry aired in the town square. To some, this restraint is admirable, to others, it's frustrating. Fans want clarity. The industry likes clean narratives. But when real people are involved, and when wounds may still be raw, it's understandable to protect the soft parts from public dissection. Privacy is difficult to claim once everyone is watching, and yet they've done their best to ask for it. Professionally, the implications are immediate. If there were talks about a duet, or the rumored joint placement at a major festival, those plans may need to be reimagined or paused. If a dramatic series was considering both of them, that project now faces a difficult decision. Entertainment is a world where chemistry isn't just a word, it's a currency. When a couple that owns the public's imagination decides to step apart, every team behind the scenes has to shuffle schedules, recalibrate marketing strategies, and in some cases, rewrite a story that had already started to grow roots. And then there are the circles around them. Friends, colleagues, co-stars. Some have quietly liked their posts without adding any commentary, others have shared messages about resilience and kindness, the kind of notes that sound general and yet feel targeted if you're listening closely. One close collaborator posted a sunrise photo with an evocative caption about new chapters, and it didn't take long for comment sections to come alive with interpretations. A producer who has worked with both hinted that projects would continue with respect and professionalism. That single line, brief as it is, paints an entire picture. Even if emotions are running high, the aim is to move with grace. Let's talk about what this means for each of them in the near term. For Gökberk, a period of recalibration could be in order. If he had placed certain commitments around Cemre's schedule or was aligning an album drop to fit a joint appearance calendar, that timing may have to flex. He might lean into roles that speak to the quiet storm he's navigating now, the kind that let an actor show layers without ever needing to say, "This is me." On the music side, a reflective single could appear, a song that doesn't name names but carries the unmistakable weight of what's been lost. For Cemre, the road may be similarly introspective. She has always translated emotion into performance, and this moment could inform a new direction, one that lets her voice tremble in places it didn't before, not out of weakness but from a hard-earned awareness. If she had a collaborative EP in the works or a tour built around both of their appearances at key venues, those plans will need a new blueprint. The upside, if there is one in such moments, is that reinvention often arrives disguised as disruption. She may find that the songs she writes now come from a truer place than ever. How they choose to navigate the public part of this journey will matter. If they keep their words measured and avoid letting frustrations spill into the open, they'll retain the respect they've built. It's not about pretending everything is fine, it's about honoring what they had and refusing to turn pain into a spectacle. On the flip side, if bitterness were to leak into statements or if third parties decided to feed the flames, the fallout could overshadow their work for an uncomfortable stretch. Reputation is a delicate instrument. One wrong note echoes. There's a natural urge to analyze every recent photo, every interview snippet, every moment that could be an overlooked clue. People have dug up segments where Gökberk seemed unusually pensive, and others where Cemre's laughter felt a little forced. In truth, we never really know. You can't decode a person's heart from a frame or a quote taken out of its full conversation. Still, the internet will interpret, compare, and decide. It's what it does, and the best either of them can do is stay steady as the tide retreats to a quieter place. November 12, 2025, will be remembered by their fans. It marks the beginning of a page turn no one was expecting to read. The world won't end, but for the people who watched them, rooted for them, and pictured their creative futures intertwined, it's a day that shifted the axis a little. Maybe there will be a reconciliation down the line, stranger things have happened. Or maybe this is the start of separate paths that still lead to brilliant heights. We've seen artists rise from heartbreak with a clarity that turns the next work into a benchmark. As always, the people closest to them become part of the story, even if they never intended to be. A friend's supportive caption, a co-star's quiet gesture on set, a manager's carefully worded public note, all of these build the narrative that fans absorb. And yet, it's vital to remember that these gestures, however visible, do not reveal the whole tapestry. There are conversations we'll never hear, compromises we'll never know were made, and small kindnesses that won't make it to the front page. Here's what we can say with certainty. The breakup is real. It happened on the date everyone is now quoting. The reaction has been swift and intense. The rest is a blend of reports and careful analysis, what people in this world do when they're trying to make sense of silence. We can be critical thinkers and still choose to be kind. We can be curious without crossing lines. These are real people, navigating a private earthquake in a very public room. In the immediate future, expect rescheduled appearances and possibly a change in how upcoming campaigns are rolled out. You might notice different seating arrangements at events. You might see PR teams doing the complicated dance of honoring past plans while introducing new directions. What you should also expect, if history is any guide, is the work. Gökberk will find a way to funnel energy into a character or a melody that catches you off guard. Cemre will take a breath and sing in a way that reminds you why you first listened. Talent tends not to vanish, it transforms. Let's circle back to the bigger picture. The entertainment industry is a maze of connections where personal relationships can impact scripts, release dates, and even sponsorships. It's easy to forget, when you watch a polished premiere, how many delicate threads are tied together behind the curtain. A breakup isn't just a headline. It's a logistical ripple that moves through teams, calendars, and contracts. Even so, most of those ripples settle. Professionals find solutions. The show goes on, altered but not undone. This community, fans, viewers, listeners, has always been one of their sources of strength. If you've admired them, now is the moment to let that admiration look like patience and respect. Resist the urge to demand answers that neither of them is ready to give. Trust that when they do speak, they'll say what they can, when they can, in a way that honors the truth without turning it into spectacle. Could they find their way back to each other? It's a possibility that some will cling to. Or perhaps the wiser hope is that they each find their equilibrium, regardless of where paths lead. What's clear is that both are gifted and both are driven. The next projects will arrive, and when they do, the question won't only be what happened. But what did this teach them, and how will it shape the art we're about to receive? Before we close, a final reminder, our conversation today is grounded in confirmed timing and in the public statements they've chosen to share, supported by reports and careful reading of the situation. The rest sits in the realm of rumor. We can map the contours without pretending to know the whole landscape. We can feel the weight without demanding every stone be turned over for us. So, yes, November 12, 2025, will be a date that lives long in the memory of those who have followed Gökberk Yildirim and Cemre Arda. It's the day the story we thought we knew took a sharp turn. From here, we watch, we listen, and we wait to see whether healing brings them back into the same frame or whether new horizons call them in different directions. Either way, we wish them grace in the quiet moments and strength in the loud ones. And we'll be here, ready to celebrate the next chapter of their art, however it's written. Thank you for staying with me through this emotional update on Turkish series stars. Tell me what you think, were you as surprised as the rest of us? Do you read their statements as a permanent goodbye, or as a pause before a reset? Share your thoughts below, and let's keep the conversation compassionate. If you found this deep dive helpful, tap like, send it to a friend who follows their work, and make sure you're subscribed with notifications on so you don't miss what comes next. Until the next video, take care, and keep your heart open for the music and stories that are still to come.